Welcome everybody to the Fire Chat podcast. My name's Rich Rice, and today on the show I have Alfonso Aramburo.
There we go.
Got it right. Longtime member now of the Inland Empire Club, and we had him on the show before, and we talked about all kinds of we talked about your background and what you were doing and what your hopes were. I mean, how long ago was that?
Oh man, a little over a year. Probably.
Has it been that long? Yeah, you were one of my original guests.
Yeah.
So awesome. Well, it's great to have you back on the show. I know you give us a quick synopsis of the people that maybe didn't see where you see that last episode.
Absolutely.
What was your professional background like, and then we'll jump into what's your professional background like?
Right. So I've been in manufacturing for almost 2 decades now. That's pretty much my background is improving processes, systems, and companies, right? At the end of the day is impacting the bottom line profit and all that fun stuff. And after that, when I joined the club, I've been wanting to do real estate somehow, right? Because I see all these people just living the good life, right? Who own real estate. I was like, hey, I want some of that, right? So that's partly the reason, right? Is like what are the ways that I could just live a better life?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And back then, I think you would either, correct me if I'm wrong, but you either quit your job or you lost your job, and you were kind of like in a this free agent kind of thing where you were deciding which way to go. Did you end up going full real estate? Because I know you got some projects going on. So tell us, did you go full? Did you kind of go back to work? Did you pivot? What? Oh
gosh, like? What didn't I do? It was, man. It was.
You've been all
nuts.
over. You've been traveling.
Yes, man. Okay, so I continue to do some consulting on my main profession, right? So with manufacturing and whatnot. And then, yes, I did start to develop a project in TJ, pretty much developing 4 apartments, just from the ground up. Basically had the land already, which I had purchased a while ago, back when land was pretty, at least not as expensive as it is now. And yeah, just kind of, I had some money saved up, and I said, well, now I got the time, and I might as well make some use of it. Yeah.
Good. So, all right, so because you mentioned the other day that you were doing some work, I wasn't that sure if that meant you ended up going back to work full time or
yes.
But you're doing consulting.
Well, I was. Now I went back to the full W2 life, right? So before I was doing a little bit of here and there, right? So I was doing some consulting while actually I tried going the wholesaling route, right? I did a little bit of that with one member from the club. We did close on a deal.
Good.
Well, at least close a deal. But then things went haywire, right?
Oh, no, really?
So, yeah, we had a lot of those fun stories with wholesaling, which was a little bit, to me, it was, I realized that was not exactly what I wanted to do. I wasn't really for the paycheck, rather for long-term wealth.
Yeah, for
right?
sure.
And so that's when...
I'm glad you realized that early.
Yeah. So
wholesaling can be great, but,
yeah.
And it's a tough job. It really is.
Yes.
It's a grind. It's not so much real estate more than it is, a sales grind kind of thing.
It is.
And it can be pretty lucrative. But so you closed the deal. Do you mind talking about it? I'm kind of curious, what went sideways from there.
Oh man, it's
usually once you close, you're good.
No, the seller. So we did multiple things wrong. One of those were after closing the deal, we never called the seller. And that created a wrong impression because we had 2 people calling him with different information, which kind of for him, it was not only confusing, but also he thought that we were trying to scam this seller.
Oh, wow.
So So
was it like a sub 2 or something, or?
That was an novation deal.
A novation. Okay.
Yes. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to, partnering with the seller, we're going to market the property, do pretty much a lipstick makeup, right? Or kind of fix it a little bit and then put it on the market. We had agreed, numbers were great. But then, of course, the friend decided to went to the seller.
The seller's friend.
Seller's friend. Yeah, went to the seller and said, "Oh, I think this guy's trying to scam you. Why don't you give me that deal instead?" And
After you closed?
so after the seller signed the paperwork and
Oh, yeah, because you
everything,
didn't do any of the transaction
Correct.
after the. Okay.
correct. So and it took us. It wasn't a matter of probably 4 or 5 days that the seller. It wasn't really that long, right? So we're ready to close everything. I mean, as far as the everything else, right? With going to escrow and whatnot. But yeah, we decided to cancel the contract and everything.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Decided to do that. It was just too much hassle. I think it was a lack of experience at that point because none of us were experienced. So that
Yeah.
in our minds were, well, we don't want to get sued or anything, right?
I didn't get a phone call.
Yeah. No.
We could have probably. No, we maybe could have said that. I don't want to.
You know what? That was the biggest lesson learned. I was trying to do a lot of things on my own, right? I don't think I reached out to enough people during, I think, at the earliest stage, right? I was trying to, I know, only because I read a lot about this, I feel comfortable. And then I realized, hey, after every single time that I would try to do sub 2 or innovation, all these fancy stuff that you hear that it's like so easy, so simple, you do it super quick. It's really not. Nothing is really as simple as people make it look like, right?
Yeah. It's. I mean, some of them go easier than others, obviously. But
Well, you have the experience though.
Yeah, but I mean, I've had my share of hiccups, like where that you had to get around stuff and figure out the problems. But we did. So backing up, I mean, to the innovation thing, like, did you learn what to do next time?
Yes, but that's when I decided, you know what, I had burnout because I was already putting in. I mean, I was making 1,000 to 1,200 calls a day, and I did that for at least 5 months.
Yeah,
and
you were in it. I remember.
Yeah, no, and I got a burnout. Right?
Yeah.
After that, I said, okay, do I really want to continue doing this?
Was that kind of like the last straw? Was that one?
That was the last straw that just
really?
broke the camel's back. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I wish you would have called me, but because just for people listening in, like with the Novation, I did these before I'd even heard that term. I just called it partnering with the seller,
That's what it is.
but we did one years ago in Irvine. It was a lady I had called. I had tried some new list, and I have a bad habit of like trying something new, and then it works. We get one deal, and then I never do it again because I go on to like the next tactic or just we get busy, whatever. Yeah. So like I don't even remember what the list was, but I called this lady in Crestline, and she had a house, she had a mobile home in Irvine, and she was way in her head. She was like in her 70s or late 60s, and she had this full rehab going on in her mobile home in Irvine in a massive park that was not investor friendly. And I mean, they got a whiff of like you being an investor. They were just like, no, we don't allow that. And she was in trouble. Huh? Yeah, but she was in trouble. Like she had purchased all of this material. She had started doing demo by herself, and she, bless her heart, she was, wanting to do it herself. But I mean, she just didn't understand. I don't think she knew she was in trouble, but she wasn't like admitting how much work she had to do. And she just wanted out. She bought a house in Crestline. She wanted to just move up there full time. And anyway, so we ended up partnering with her, and we were adamant that we recorded a title. Like, so as soon as we didn't do escrow or anything like that, we made an agreement with her. We put together a whole contract and everything and laid out like we were going to pay her whatever it was. I don't remember all the terms. This was like 5 or 6 years ago now. But I do remember that we recorded the title. That was the basically as a lien on it. And as soon as that was recorded and final, nobody could come in and say, oh, these guys are doing, and we immediately went to work. We finished it in like 6 weeks, sold it. At that time, that was one of our best deals that we'd we done. But so if you're gonna do that, if you're gonna do one of these novation things, like make sure you just record it. So because I think I wouldn't give up, man. Like I mean I don't know how long it took to find that one, but if something like that falls into your lap again, I really do. I hope you consider it, or call me if you don't want to, because I'll consider it. But
I will. Lesson learned.
Because those can be, some of the best ones, because you don't have any of the, you don't have any of the overhead. You're just bringing in, most of the time, you're just bringing in rehab funds. And yeah, I mean, you're not probably getting what you would get buying it cash, and
hey, but we walked away from about 80 grand, right?
Yeah.
Easy, 80 grand, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, lesson learned. And the thing is, I didn't learn the first time, right? Because it did happen to me another time that, anyways, there was another wholesaler that got in there. Seller got under contract with 4 different wholesalers, which was another one of those cases. So it does happen. Got it.
Man, you had some tough breaks at the beginning of those.
Yeah.
What that means though is you were doing it right. Like if you were getting to that point, that you were getting those things in there and getting contracts. I mean, I don't know, maybe the people were just not honest. I mean, somebody's signing contracts. I mean, if they entered escrow, I mean, that's technically fraud. So
It is.
We've had our share of that too. It's I like telling this story about how we nailed this wholesaler to the wall in Long Beach and got paid $30,000 to not buy a house.
Wow. It's got to be a great story. Do tell.
I'm supposed to be interviewing you. So, no, I'll make the long story short was this guy had emailed me. I put together the deal. I never met him, never talked to him. It was all on email, but I checked everything out. I checked his LLC. He claimed he bought the property at auction, and and I checked the auction website, like the auction records. He was from Colorado. So he had a Colorado LLC, and he had bought it at auction. And so I checked all that. I checked the auction, checked the LLC, the corporate filings in Colorado. Everything checked out. So even though I was like, and it was through escrow. It's not like we were just buying it from direct. It was through escrow, and we put in the EMD. As soon as we got and I knew, like, it was this property in Long Beach. It was, God, I wish I could remember the numbers. It was like four something, and it was like a $700,000 house. But this guy was from Colorado, and he was just so. And I called a couple people, like, got. I called a friend of mine, looked at some what do you call it? Looked at some, or he looked at some comps, ran it by me, and we fully intended on buying this place and flipping it and making, a lot of money on it. Yeah. And then, like, we literally put in the EMD, and he called me the next day, and he was like, "What do you say?" He just emailed me. He said, "Yeah, there's something going on with this. I'm going to have to put this deal on hold." Just on hold.
Out of the blue.
Yeah. And we were like, and all I said was, "All right, well, let me know when, let me know what happens." That was it. I didn't say, "Okay, we're canceling." I didn't say anything. And fast forwarding, like, about 3 weeks later, I emailed him, and he's like, "Oh, I thought we canceled that." I was like, "We didn't cancel anything. We're still in escrow. I have an EMD with you."
Don't
blah,
tell
blah,
me
blah.
he sold it.
Then he disappeared.
Gosh.
And then somehow, I don't remember exactly how it worked, but or who called who. I don't remember all the details at this point, but somehow it got back to us from our friends that were also wholesalers, our new friends of friends, and they were like, "Isn't that, like, I already have this?" Like, it got back to the person we had. Sorry, I remember now. Sorry, we had wholesaled it to somebody else.
Yeah.
Okay, we had already found another buyer, and we were going to, like, double close and resell it immediately to somebody else and make like 40 or 50 on it or something like that. And that guy, so that's why he was involved. And then that guy, the one that we were selling it to, actually, it came across his desk from a friend of his. His friend was like, "Look at this house I'm buying. This is awesome." And he's like, "I'm buying this house." And they were like, and then they called us,
Oh, man.
and then we basically called the, we found out. So we're just everyone. All right. Everybody, be cool. Who's the escrow? Who's the seller? Like, and it was the same seller. He had opened up another escrow with another buyer, and we basically, long story short, we wrote the guy a letter or an email, sent it to both escrow companies, and both escrow companies immediately froze everything. They're like, nope, this is fraud. And we basically just said, you can pay us. We were going to make, X, but we'll take, Y to walk. We don't have to do anything, like, and then we ended up giving. So I think they paid us 30. We gave 10 to the guys that we had sold it to, because they were pissed, that they lost a deal. So we gave 10 as like a consolation prize, and then we paid the guy who would help me, run numbers and everything also. So it was like, but it's just like, dude, don't. This community is smaller than you think.
Yeah.
Like it's definitely. People are gonna know, like if real fast, like if you're
They'll
doing
know
that shit.
even if you don't know them. I mean,
Yeah, we didn't know. We didn't like.
Man, I got stories about that, right? I mean, I was wholesaling pretty much. I don't want to say all 50 states, but I was going crazy all night, right? Calling all kinds of people's lists, right? Pretty much is going over about. I would know these buyer, and then I would try to find a deal for this person. So I found this buyer in Ohio. So I go all in, all out. Anyways, I ended up, again, closing a contract. I didn't file a memorandum, nor file escrow, nor none of that. I just had the contract. But then the following day, I get the inspector, so the guy who would go there and take pictures of the property, he asked me, hey, I've been to this house already. I came here 2 days ago. I was like, what do you mean? Oh, yeah. And then he connected me with the other wholesaler. So, and then we found out about this other buyer who was already under contract with another wholesaler. So at the end of the day, we found that there were 4 different wholesalers that had that same property. So it happens more often than it sounds like, right?
Yeah. So I mean, we well, you said something there too. So you would get it signed, but then you wouldn't open escrow immediately?
That was my biggest mistake, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm not trying to grill you. I'm just, it's more like for the people listening in.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, literally, if it's noon, like, and I get a contract signed at noon, I'm doing everything I can to get my EMD in that day.
Yeah.
Because it's, I don't know if you know this, but it's the EMD that locks the contract.
Yep.
It's not the signature. It's the EMD to an escrow company. Once that's in, you're locked. And I walked away. One. I think we might have talked about this on the last time, but I walked away from one where I had the EMD in, because I just had the feeling that the lady selling it was being truthful, but that about what everything was going on, and she owned the house. There was no fraud or anything, but there was just too many family members sniffing around, and I just had this feeling. So I got that EMD in like that, and she called me the next morning like 7 a.m. and was like, I'm going to sell it to my grandson. And I knew that the grandson had been like, he's gonna wholesale. He's not interested in the house, but I just watched somebody else the night before, like a weekend before or whatever, and they were like, if somebody calls me and wants to out, then we just let him out. And I didn't used to do that, but I was like, so I just watched this and I was like, fine, whatever. Dude, walking away, I probably walked away from about $200,000 on that deal, on what we were getting that house for 50, 60. And it would have resold. They resold it for 190. And then that person put probably 50, 60 grand into it and sold it for like 340. So I would have put the 50, 60 grand into it and sold it for 340 and walked with 2.
But also the thing is, I mean, looking back, it sounds, I mean, you could think of it as I lost all this money, or you could see, again, have a half glass, full glass, or how do you say, like
glass half full,
full, right? Perspective, right?
Not let them out.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I mean, at the end of the day, you learn all these things, right? Which, in hindsight, sure, you could have done it better. You could have done it differently.
Yeah, for sure.
but also going forward, it's something that will, who knows, maybe you'll land a $500,000 deal, right? I mean, you'll probably make more than what you lost.
Yeah. Yeah. There's always more. You know, there's always other houses. There's always other deals.
Yeah.
I'm like, but that one I just have to. It's only like, it's the next street up from one of my rentals. So I have to drive past it all the time.
Yep.
But no, it's all good. I mean, like I said, there's ones that we've, you know, been. Look, if a seller comes to me, and this is kind of like what it boiled down to. Like, if a seller comes to me and changes their mind, they get a better offer. You know, especially an elderly one.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, she was of sound mind and body. I didn't, you know, she made the decisions she made. And I was there like that. I mean, she called me. I was there half an hour later. I could literally walk up my backyard to the house. And, you know, but if a seller calls me and they change their mind, you know, it sucks. But, you know, that's fine. But if a wholesaler is, or, you know, messing around and like that guy, you know, the guy who pulled that stuff in Long Beach, no.
Yep.
So, all right, enough of that. What like? Tell us about this stuff you're developing in Mexico. I mean, when did you buy this lot?
So about 8 years ago, just to give you some context. So 8 years ago, I came here to the States, right? So I was born, raised in TJ, in Tecate, right across the border, Mexico. And back then, I mean, I was already leading some companies, same thing, doing the same thing in manufacturing. And in my mind, I was looking to develop to build a plant, right? A manufacturing plant. So I bought this lot to build this. I was going to have presses and do metal stamping, metal fabrication, the kind of thing, which is what I know. And so right before, and at that time, my kid was born, and his mom said, like, because she was born and raised in San Diego, and she said, you know what, I don't feel that comfortable here, so let's just move out there. Let's go back to the States. And I was like, well, I'm honestly, I'm comfortable. I don't want to move. I'm good where I'm at. But anyways, we just ended up just coming over, and I just left that piece of land, just sitting there vacant forever, and until again last year that I decided to develop it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Cool. And I was just talking to somebody else about this too. But I guess in Mexico, I mean, this was very rural land that I was having this conversation with. But is it? Yeah, they don't have, as far as I know, or he was explaining to me, this is all the way down in like Mexico City. You know, they were saying there's no like first American title in Mexico. Like, there's not a lot of joint. That's not a lot of connected. Like, you can't. There's not a centralized system for title, so it's a lot of local, regional type of stuff. So,
That's
and he was
correct.
saying, like, if you're not there defending like your land, not like you're standing out there with a gun, but I mean, you know, but if you're not there, like, making a presence on your land, that somebody can just kind of grab it. Is that true, or is it less that in TJ? Or
the laws are very similar. That, in fact, the Mexican Constitution was made based on the American Constitution, right, of the United States of America, and that's kind of pretty interesting that a similar laws apply there. So if you if you have even a vacant lot or a vacant house, you can take possession after, I think, you prove that you've been paying taxes for, say, can't remember if it's 3 or 5 years. Wow. Pretty similar than here, right? So yeah, pretty similar. And to that point, they're notaries, and that's, I mean, you just get notarized, but that's it, right? You can't. It's not something that you can find any public records that you can access, Batch or PropStream or any of these apps, right? Or you just go to the county records. No. That doesn't exist. yeah, exactly.
So what stops, like, I don't know, the guy in the local title office or whatever, you slip him, like, you know, a few thousand pesos, and you're like, hey, give me the deed for that, you know.
So, well, what it is,
not that you would do it. I'm just saying, like, I'm sure people would. You know,
it's just more. It's not electronic filing. The way that it works is they take it to the city, so to the city major's office, and they just do all these transactions, right?
Okay.
To where they record the deed, they do everything. It's just like I said, paper filing.
Right on. Right. So I mean, more how
Right.
they still pretty much do that here. It's just all digitized.
Yeah.
Also.
Yeah. So in that sense, it's pretty similar. Just I'd
Yeah.
say
Yeah.
slightly different. Right.
Yeah. Right on. Right on. I mean, I know what you mean because I mean, there's especially stuff that hasn't sold in a long time. You know, if I think the cutoff. It's getting better. I mean, they're going through and scanning all of the old microfilms. Like when I first started doing this, I don't see it too much anymore. But in especially San Bernardino County and Riverside County, more so San Bernardino. If you went back before 1984 or something like that, it was all stored on microfilm, and you'd have to wait. You have to wait for them to go pull the microfilm out and scan it. You have to put in a request and pay some money, and they're like I said, I think they've digitized most of it now, but there's still, every once in a while you look up a house on PropStream or title, Property Radar or any of them, and it just there's nothing. There's there's no title record. There's no. I mean, it says the owners, but you can't see the history of all the scans going back. So it's right on. So you bought the lot a long time ago. You decided to develop it. What's development like across the border?
Oh man. First is and again, a lot of lessons learned, right? But one of the things you got to check for services for utilities, water, sewer, that kind of thing, and you start with that. And then after that, there got to be some soil studies. Gonna make sure that the land is good to be developed, right,
Okay.
and that can withstand the whatever conditions, right, and whatever weight of the structure. And then after that, you just pretty much get all permits and just get it rolling.
Good,
right?
good. I mean, very similar. Is it tough to find good people? I mean, it's tough to find people here. So, is it?
It's a interesting phenomenon in TJ. There is after during the pandemic and after the pandemic, things got way more expensive, right? And also construction workers. There were a lot of construction workers that worked in San Diego that moved to TJ, and they still wanted to make the same amount of money. And surprisingly, there were a lot of investors. There are a lot of investors building these high rises, a lot of these buildings, and they're paying premium for construction.
Yeah.
So it is really hard to find not only good construction workers, but also at least a modest amount, right, or a decent amount to where it's just I don't want to say what it used to be, right, because everything after the pandemic got pretty much more expensive.
Yep.
But certainly at least something reasonable, right? What I did is I brought people from southern Mexico and just kind of imported them into TJ.
Okay.
Pretty much, right?
How'd you find them? Just
Facebook groups.
oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I don't know if you knew people down there. Or...
No. And I knew people before, but they would charge me twice the amount. So I had to, again, just look and really interview. I interviewed about over 120 people just to find the right one, right?
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. You like to grind.
I do. I do.
Oh man. Wow. Okay. So what's your timeline been like? When did you break ground?
Last summer, so in July, so July 30th, that's when I started. So we're almost 12 months into the project.
Almost exactly. Yeah.
Yep. And it was only supposed to last about between 6 to 8 months, and it's
you're
definitely no, because we no, we changed. I mean, initially the plan was to have between 5 to 7 people just working there, but then at some times, I mean, from time to time, some of them had issues, multiple things, and I decided because I just started, honestly, I did a lot of changes on the run, on the go, which you're not supposed to do.
Nah, it's hard. You're like, nah, that'd be better. Do this.
Exactly. So at the end, I just ended up doing a rooftop, which was not part of the initial plan. And of course, that added extra cost, extra labor, a lot of it, because you have to build a different foundation and everything, right? The roof.
Was the roof already done when you decided to do that?
the first one, the first layer, yes,
Okay.
but not the second one. But I also wanted to build a structure thinking about the future, right? So
Yeah.
thinking if I wanted to build something, I want the structure to sustain that, to be able to withstand it, right?
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So after that, I mean, again, we continue working a lot of changes, a lot of things with workers. I found out, well, I was running out of funds. Pretty much my bank account kept going lower and lower, right? At that point, I decided to get a job that will pay for those bills, right?
Yep.
Because it was just rough at that time. So I was the general contractor, so to speak. Back then, we were definitely doing a lot of progress, but then I had to step away and manage it remotely, and so I thought that I would be able to. And the progress for a few months was very stagnant, right?
Yep. And that right there. I mean, out of state, out of country, it doesn't matter if you're not, unless it's guys you've used before and you know that they're on the ball. Like it's tough, man. They just don't show up. They'll show up for a few hours a week, or a day maybe, and that just doesn't get it done. So what? You ended up going out there more.
Well, that's one thing. I ended up going not only more, but I asked friends and people that I knew, my family members too. At first, my brother would just stop by or drive by once in a while. I mean, they're still there, luckily. And a little while ago, I was honestly thinking about just stopping the entire thing, the entire project, and restarted back when I was already thinking about firing them and get another crew, right? Because I was so frustrated. That time, my dad, he just saw how frustrated I was, and he said, "You know what? I'm just gonna help you out. I'm gonna start going there," which that was a game changer. So after he started going there, which is probably about a month ago, that I'm finally starting to see progress again.
Good.
Right.
Good.
So
Good.
yeah, I mean, 40 grand over budget, but yeah, things are looking better.
Okay. Well, hey, I mean, it happens. How much longer do you think you have left? I mean, as long as they stay on track.
As long as they stay on track, it should be no longer than 4 months.
Okay.
Because they still, I mean, maybe less, but I want to make sure that things are the way that I'm doing things over there is to last long, right? I'm doing countertops, concrete. Maybe I'm going overboard, right? But it's certainly something that I want to. I don't want to be doing a lot of repairs, especially because I'm not that close. So it's built to last.
Yeah, right on. Yeah, right on. I mean, that's changing stuff's one thing, but same thing. Like I tell people when if you're flipping or you're hanging onto it, like decide as soon as possible because it'll tell you what you're gonna do, or not tell you, but it'll guide you a little bit on because, like you said, you want stronger finishes for your rentals than maybe for your flips.
Yeah.
Or better fixtures, better lights, better faucets, that kind of stuff. So I get it. That's I'll keep going. I mean, there's it sounds like it's gonna be really cool when it's done. What are the were you able to get like a construction loan, or are you just all cash? And then like when you're done, do you refi and pull it out? Like what's that look like?
When I started, I wasn't sure if I wanted to buy it and sell it or I would keep it. But with time, I think I've put so much effort that it just became like an emotional attachment, I guess, right? That property, I don't want to let it go. I'm just going to get the passive income, if you can call it passive, right? But no, I'm not refi. That was on my own funds. I've been just self-financing the whole thing from start to finish. And I got a couple loans from friends and family. But that is, I mean, the interest rate would be at 8%. Interest. I think that with the rent that I'm getting, it's not going to be significant, so I can pay it off in about 5 to 7 years.
Okay.
Right. Which again, and still get a few $100.
Good.
Right.
Good.
Still left.
Is it something that, I mean, are there lenders down there that would do, like, if you want to do a cash out refi? Could you? Or?
No. That is the way that equity works. There is it's much different. You make money on the sale, but not necessarily on the financing, right? So if I wanted to get money out of that one, the only way would be either get an investor that that would want to get some of the proceeds there and make whatever percentage, right? And for their money, right? Whatever ROI they want or yield for their money. But no, it's either mine. I mean, it's not as common to joint venture as it is in real estate here, right? It is, but it's not as common.
Gotcha. And okay, so you can't build something and then put a loan on it as easily.
No.
Interesting. Okay. And then if you don't mind me asking, like what's your all in, and then like what if you did want to sell it, like what would it be worth?
Well, I mean, again, when I did the run numbers initially, it was going to cost me $100,000, 120 tops, right, with everything. And as I said, I'm 40 grand over, so I'm already at is not even done, and definitely over budget. So all in, it would be about 180, right? I mean, just finishing it up, I would be getting about 3 grand from all four. And I'm just trying to be conservative, right, on the numbers, right? So in my numbers would be, I'd be getting about, and well, I don't know, I'm on camera, right, and don't have my number, but based on the calculations that I've done, maybe a yield of at least 12 to 15%, right, of what I'm anticipating. Right?
Gotcha. On a resale?
On the money. No,
Or just on your cash flow?
On my, yearly cash flow, right?
Yeah, but if you wanted to sell, like what is a 4 unit worth in TD, like a brand new one?
Brand new one, it's no less than 300,000, right? At least.
So,
right. So I could at least double my money, right? Whatever I put in.
that's a tough call.
It is.
I don't know what I would do.
It is. It is. It is. Especially after, part of my plans now is to buy a business, and I need $700,000. So I'm
How many? How much?
$750,000 to purchase this business that I want to buy from the owner. Just had the call with them yesterday. I'm like, shoot, man, do I just sell it and start selling everything, right? Just to go all in? I don't know, man. I love risk, but I'm not sure.
So is 700 you're down?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
all right, let's talk about this.
down.
So you're buying a business. All right. What's the? I mean, you don't have to say where it is or what it is, but like,
it's local. It's here in California.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not far from
What's the industry?
It's manufacturing,
Okay.
rotomolding. So part of, and again, I've been rotomolding, manufacturing and rotomolding. I still have customers. I still do. That's one of my. It's my business, right? Basically, I got customers in the States that need to build, let's say, tanks or air intake systems, some off-road cars that need some diesel tanks and whatnot, or gas tanks. And so I know the industry pretty well. It's something that I've done for a while, and I'm thinking, well, real estate is great, but also, I mean, what if you were to combine them, right? It sounds like it's pretty interesting. It's interesting because the same skills that you use in wholesaling apply to buying businesses, which is nuts. That was, to me, it was a surprise. I just stumbled upon this like an Instagram. I was like, wait a minute, I can buy a business?
Yeah, people flip businesses.
Yeah. So this business is a local business. I've been doing business with this guy, with this owner for a while, for at least 4 years now. And I told him, hey, man, I want to buy a business. And he said, well, funny you say that, right? And that's, of course, there is another investor putting in $2 million. And then he said, well, if you want to join me, $750,000 for the business, because we want to be free and clear. It's not a huge business, but it's definitely scalable, right?
Yeah.
And that's what I'm trading for.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So, all right. Well, I mean, there's multiple ways to build wealth. It doesn't always have to be real estate. Would you do that? That would be your full time, your job then, or would you do that also working something else?
I haven't decided yet. I think that's part of the things that I'm constantly battling with. Right, is just having too much things on my plate.
Yeah.
Right. So currently, recently bought a house. Right. Doing this, I bought another piece of land over there. I was going to develop another Airbnb. So that's still in process. Haven't started
another
yet.
Airbnb.
Yeah, another one. Okay. And so I was in the middle of, again, wanting to buy a house up in Crestline, or a cabin up in Crestline. So it's
Why would you want to go up there? No, I'm just kidding.
because of the mountains, right?
No, I'm kidding. Obviously. So where did you buy a house?
We're in a valley.
Oh, all right.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
I
I
like
think I
that
told you about that one,
Yeah.
right? It was a loan assumption, right?
Good,
Yeah.
good. So, well, yeah, I mean, you got a ton going on, man.
Yeah.
Like, what are you leaning towards? The business or the? Did you have to sell the fourplex to get the business or?
I would, yeah,
Yeah.
I would have to. Yeah, so it's a tough choice. I haven't made up my mind yet, but what I do know is that it's I see this as a game, right? And it's a fun game. It's I wouldn't have thought that I would be again that I would be at this stage where I would be considering buying a business. I always saw myself as someone who would start a business rather than buying it. So we'll see. Again, maybe next time we'll get to
For sure.
talk more
For
about
sure.
whether about a business or not.
Like, I'm just curious. I mean, because I mean, you got 100, but you will have about 180, like you said, into the fourplex. You'll net about 3,000,
Yep.
somewhere around
Yeah,
there.
passive.
Which is not terrible. I mean, it's some people you maybe get a little bit better, but that's still pretty good. Like, so 3,000. But if you sold it, how much passive would you get from that business?
Much more.
Much more, but
So-
but you got to build the business up first. I'm assuming.
Yes, it would be. I would be applying the same skills that I already have, which I know I've done this multiple times to where I mean
For somebody else, or
for other companies.
Okay.
Yes, and so this is my specialty, right? So that's why I'm very confident that me putting that money is invested in myself as well, and in my abilities to make it happen. So I know that I can make it happen. But it's just a matter of, like I said, is that also that emotional attachment, right? It's, man, I built this and it's been like through a lot of sweat and stress and oftentimes even anxiety, right? Is it's a lot of uncertainty too when you're building something. And so now I have already something stable here that will start feeding into. I mean, I'm a house hacking my house, which I just barely today, the new resident will be joining, right? My new roommate will be, again, coming over. And so it's, I don't know, it's really a tough call, right?
Yeah.
It's difficult to decide, do you want the passive income and do you want to just, again, go there for the ride and have a little bit more like an enjoyable ride, right? More like slower, or do you want to go crazy? And I'm pretty extreme, right? As you know,
the crazy spectrum.
yeah,
gotcha.
I go to the other extreme. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna sell everything and put everything into this, which is not the smarter move. Oftentimes, in terms of numbers, it would make sense, but
Yeah.
also as far as the security, the safety net is like I would find myself again in like difficult situations.
Yeah, for sure,
right?
for sure. No, I hear you. I hear
Yeah.
you. That was a big dilemma with this place. You know, was, you know, I you knew you could do it, but it was the time, and I would, you know, I would look at your time.
Yes.
I would look at your time and decide, you know, because I mean, if you got 3,000 coming in from this, and then you keep picking up the, you know, more houses and house hacking them, or, you know, making them cash flow or whatever, and I think the biggest determining factor would be, for me, would be the time. Like, if I could build that business up in 3 years or less and walk or sell, you know, all right. You know, but if it's a 10-year plan, but I got to sell everything else to get rid of current passive income, I don't know.
That's right.
You
That's
know,
right.
You know, especially,
Yeah.
I mean, you know, and my perspective started changing. Obviously, I have a kid on the way, so like my perspectives changed a little bit. You know, as far as time, you already have a kid. You know, how old is he?
Oh, 8.
8. So, I mean, if it's a 3-year plan, that puts him at what, 11, 12? You know, if it's a 10-year plan, that's 18. So, you know, like, you want more time with him now or later, or, you know, that's a tough call, man.
It's always a conundrum, man. It's a dilemma, and I'm already working crazy hours, right, trying to build something, and so you also got to think about that, the work-life balance. Where there's no such thing as balance because we're like so imbalanced. But also is, what do you want, right? What do you want for your life? And I don't know. I guess I'll get to tell you. And
Yeah.
I see you were reflecting, huh?
Yeah, yeah. Because because I mean, nobody can tell somebody else what to do. I mean, everybody's got to make their own decision, right? But like you know, when Evan and I were originally building, the businesses we did, like we had to constantly remind her. It is hard, dude. It's hard. I mean, I just had this conversation with my mom, because my mom's total workhorse, like just, fucking 70, 80 hours a week for the last like 10 years.
Wow.
It's all she does is work. And, she wants to have all these, she wants to travel and do all this stuff, but like they keep canceling trips because things keep coming up and, she takes more listings or we flip another house and it just got to the point of like, and we've said this, before, you're not going to get to the end. You're not going to be on your deathbed wishing you flipped another house or wishing that you bought another business or wishing that you would have worked harder. Like nobody is on their, nobody like what they generally will say. I think. I mean, it's not like I'm, routinely watching people pass away, but like I feel like I'm probably going to get at the end and wish that I spent more time with my family, spent more time with kids, spent more time with, put more time into the making memories, traveling, experiences, that kind of stuff versus, like I said, like flipping another house or buying another house or whatever. And dude, it's so hard to remember that because you see the goal, but it's so hard to like put it into the time, like the time commitment and that currency, I guess, of like. And that's why I'm so big on trying to decide ahead of time because that's hard too. But trying to decide ahead of time of like what your goals are and where do you want to be, like what do you want, like do you want more money? Or do you want more time with
the thing is I want it all.
Right. But there's only, I mean, and this goes back to, you can, I heard this a long time ago, but it was like, you can be anything you want. You can be anything you want, but you can't be everything. And like, you can do anything you want, but you can't do everything.
Yeah.
Because time is there. It's the, it's the one thing we can't change or get more of or, and, so that's a tough decision, man. Me personally, I protect my passive income. It's because that's the hardest one to get.
It is.
You could go out and work 1 million hours and get active income, but the passive stuff that I wouldn't trade mine. Like I got a couple houses that are just workhorses, and there's no way I would trade those for.
And you said it right. It's the time, right? So if I go the real estate route with the current strategy that I have, which is house hacking, it would take me 10 years to get to my goal, right? But if I go the business route, it would take me half of that, right? But again, it would probably be working twice as hard
over those 5 years.
Over those 5 years, but then have the rest. So, we'll see.
All right. Well, I'm sure we'll sit down and have this conversation 5 years and 10 years from now, and we'll see. That's part of why, thank you for coming on. Like it's part of why I want to have these conversations with people is because this is part of it. Like it's not as easy as just throwing what you want on the wall and like there's life comes at you, decisions, things change and it's a constant battle. So either way, I know you're going to crush it. Whatever you decide. So you don't seem like the give up type. So you're definitely a keep chugging, keep going type of guy. So I'm excited to see what you do. And I'm sure everybody listening too, because I mean they're gonna want to know. So I didn't bring my what time we got here?
So it's
no, we're right there. We're right at the end there. So all right. Well, so real quick before we go. You just assumed a loan on a house.
Correct.
How'd you find that one? Was the process pretty straightforward?
No.
Okay.
We started in November, and it closed in March, right? So
Start November, close in March. That's not bad.
Yeah. Yeah. So what I did is I pretty much went to batch, right? And I just put keywords. I started doing this lower equity. I did 20% equity,
Okay.
whether it was in the market or not. And I called both. I just
Yeah.
didn't care. I just wanted a house in Moreno Valley. As I said to
Nice.
myself, I want something that is close to it's actually 2 minutes from my son's school. And that's what I wanted.
Perfect.
I was okay with paying premium because that was the area that I wanted to live in, Sunnymead Ranch, so right there again, close to his home, school, and so that one ended up being on the market. So I spoke to the realtor, and he said, "All right, let me talk to the seller and see if he'd be willing to do this assumption." They ended up marketing it. There was another guy who offered more than I did for the same type of deal. I said, "Okay, great. If you get it, amazing. If not, just get back to me and we can talk about it. I'm ready to close."
So after you kind of presented them that, then they just threw that out to the market, the same idea, to see if they could get more?
It happened to be before.
That's so annoying.
Yeah.
Okay. But it worked out.
But
Okay, so-
it worked out. So we did it. So closed the deal on the deal, and pretty much I was intending on house hacking. Put it on the market for like 2 months, and a lot of people that it had a lot of interest, but not the demographics that I would want, right? Or not the
because you're living there.
yes, yeah. So it's
Okay.
co-living,
And it's
right?
single family?
Single
It's just
family
one unit?
home. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. 4-3.
Okay. Wow,
Yeah.
big. Nice. So what kind of loan was it?
That was a FHA 3 point something.
Okay, cool. So
3.1.
you went through the qualification process and formally assumed it. You didn't take it subject
Correct.
to.
Correct.
You
Formally
assumed
assume it.
Okay, so it's all in your name.
Yeah.
That's great, man. That's great. I wish honestly I'd rather do that than the sub 2. Like I'd rather have it in my name and be done with it, and that, there's no possibility of the due on sale clause or anything like that coming up. So
Or
that's
the seller
cool.
filing for bankruptcy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really cool. That's really cool. So and you're living in it now, you're going to house hack it, and so is that something are you still cold calling, or was that just something you happened to?
No, I mean, I'm not cold calling anymore.
Okay, you just kind of said, I want a house in Moreno Valley.
And I looked
I like
for
that,
one,
dude. You
right?
manifested the hell out of that.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just
I
pulled a list and said, I'm going to find a house in Moreno Valley, and
But it was a very narrow search, right?
Yeah.
I mean, as opposed to my cold calling times where I would call like pretty much every single neighborhood. In this case, I just had probably 10 houses that I called. So
Wow.
not as many, right?
well, yeah.
And
I
mean,
like that.
10
I like
at a
that.
time. Yeah.
I like that. I mean, you kind of micro-targeted it down into, instead of casting this massive net,
Nope.
and I mean, there's always this element, a small amount of luck and time and things add up, but it's a good, I personally think it's a better strategy than going huge, nationwide and just hammering a specific,
Yeah.
I mean, more than 10 homes. I mean, that's, that's pretty narrow, but good on you, man. Good.
Yeah,
Good. You
yeah.
picked that up. How much did it cost to get into it?
I put 60 grand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right on.
And that's it. I mean, I did get a second mortgage or mortgage in second position, though. One of our members here actually helped me with getting the loan in second
Oh, okay.
position for
Cool.
the reminder to pay some of the equity to the seller as well.
Okay.
Right.
Cool.
So it worked out.
Right on. Good.
Yeah.
Good. And you already moved in?
Already moved in.
Somebody's moving in. Sorry.
And someone is moving in this weekend, but I already had 2 other tenants, right, living in there. So it would be, I'm renting 3 rooms out of the 4.
So how much is your payment?
$3,900.
And then
Right.
how
And
much
then
are you
the
getting
second position is 1,000.
Okay.
No, 3,900. Yeah.
And you're
No,
renting it by the room?
3,400.
Renting by the room? So
Renting by the
you're
room.
going to pretty much, you're living there. You're cash flowing, or
No. What I'm paying is the same amount if I would be still living in my 1-bedroom apartment. Pretty
Okay,
much.
cool.
So I'm not.
Now you have equity,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the goal.
Depreciation,
To
all
me,
the, you own another house. Yeah.
Yeah,
Hell yeah.
exactly. I said, I mean, can I pay the house? Well, probably. Do I want to? I don't want to pay more than what I'm currently paying
Yeah.
for rent, right?
Yeah.
So that was the goal.
Cool. Right on. And then I'm sure at some point, it's a big house. I'm sure at some point you can look at, you can maybe cut off, do some ADUs and make it to the point where you're cash flowing. Even that. So
Yeah.
Is that a garage?
There is a garage. There is a huge backyard. I think it's I can't remember. It's like 2,000 square feet or something. But it's enough to build an ADU if I wanted to, or convert the garage. But honestly, at this point,
You got
I
your
don't want to do
development.
any more
You got your
projects.
development. Let that wear off a little bit before you jump back into a new one.
Yep,
Right on. I hear you. I hear you. All right, Alfonso. Well, we're about there. It's been great having you on the show again. Again, good luck. I want to definitely, we'll get some updates from you, in the following months, years, on what you decide to do. If people want to get a hold of you or find you, information, follow you, how do they get a hold of you?
Can reach out to me on my, Instagram, Poncho Aramburo. That's the good way of reaching out to me, right? Just send me an invite. I'll be more than happy to look at your profile first and then accept it.
Right on.
I'll have a little bit of stalking there.
Yeah, I got you. All right. Well, thanks for tuning in, everybody. This has been the Fire Chat podcast here at the Fire Center. Again, my name's Rich Rice. You can check out the Fire Center at firecenterhq.com or at firecenterhq on pretty much everything. Or you can follow me at FireRichRice on Instagram. And we do this show every so often. I don't really have a set release schedule, but here at the Fire Center, we meet multiple times a month, mostly on Wednesdays, but soon to be Tuesdays as well, and multiple events. So again, check that out, firecenterhq.com here in Riverside, and hope you can come out to an event. Join us soon. If you want to get on the show, go to firechatpodcast.com. Again, firechatpodcast.com. It's really easy. You can tell we have a theme going.
We do.
So, Alfonso, it's been great having you on the show, man. Thanks again.
Thanks.
And thanks for listening in. We'll see you next time.